was living a lie. In the darkness, I was scared of the light. With no direction, I was running away. Step by side, enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride.
I just want to say welcome to Circle. And can we all just take what we call like a be still moment? You can close your eyes, or you can focus on one thing in the room and take 5 breaths just to be present in the room. And when you're ready, tell everyone what's coming up for you about today.
Lately, I've been just praying about gratitude, being thankful for all that God's done. And that's what came to mind, just the opportunities that He provides. And there's no criteria to meet when you're receiving from God. He's met that all through Jesus. So we have that access, and I'm just thankful for this is one of those experiences.
What am I wanting to get from this? What will help me? What will this add to my toolbox, to that toolbox that I use every day? And I'm so looking forward to just enriching the opportunities that I already see with restorative practices.
So my name is Louisa, and I'm going to model the introduction of my name is Louisa as we go around, because I want to know all of you, and that's what's coming up for me. I'm going to be here every Friday for the next 6 weeks. So every Friday, I look forward to being in circle with you, in relationship with you. It's really exciting. Lori and I were like bouncing up and down earlier. I'm not a morning person. I've been bouncing up and down since 6:30. And it's the culmination of weeks of work, and it is what it is. Just go with the flow, and that's my practice. It's not always easy for me to be that way, but when I'm in circle, this is what's so amazing, is that happens. So
Hi, I'm Jessica, and what came to me was restoration. I'm helping somebody right now who's going through a lot, and I just want to help people restore their lives again. And so I'm excited to learn while I'm here. So that's what came to me.
Hi, I'm Cheryl, and what came to me was, I want you at this training. I want to train you here. I have provided for you to be able to be here, and I've made financial provision as well to get you here for 6 weeks from Tennessee, and I'm just thankful to be here with all of you.
Hi, my name is Sydney. Luis, I really appreciated what you shared, because when I was sitting here, and even as Michelle started talking, I just really felt like I really am appreciating like the way that we're going about getting trained, because I'm finishing my college degree right now, and so it's really easy to just flip into like, okay, what can I learn? What knowledge can I like gain? But I just like really appreciate the way that this is such a holistic like experience. It's not just like a training, because it's like I felt like the Lord was like challenging me to just kind of even set my mind to the side a little bit and not just be like, what can I pull into my brain, but like, how can I bring my heart and my being and my presence and then my emotions and my vulnerability here, because that's the way that I'm gonna receive like what He has for me here. And so I appreciate what you were sharing about just being here and being in relationship and just getting to just kind of go with the flow, because I think it's easy to flip into like, oh, we're gonna do this or do that. But yeah, I'm just excited to be here with all of you. So.
Hi, I'm Dee Dee. I have a very diverse background, and I just keep going where I'm led. I was definitely not in a place where I thought I'd be. This isn't what I ever planned in my life, and you'll learn more about that. But I just believe that God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called, and I'm apparently called to do this. And I do have some mediation training in my background, but I definitely want to learn circles, and I look forward to this a lot.
Okay, I'm Carrie Bible, and I know Michelle from our Tea Party. She's spoken there, and Dee Dee as well. And I'm thankful to be here in this training. I think, this could really help people, and it'll be good.
Hello, my name is Lee, and I'm very happy to be here also. I'm in real estate, so I do a certain amount of counseling with every transaction. Usually it pertains to everything but selling and buying. So I too am very happy to be here to learn something new and take that on to help other people. So I'm looking forward to the training.
Good morning. I'm Lori again. Hello. Good morning, and bless all of you. It is what came to me when I closed my eyes real briefly was that it's such a blessing to be here with all of you and looking at all of you. It's a blessing that you're all here with us. I am thrilled to be here. I've been thrilled to be a part of Family Innocence, and definitely know that all this and all of you being here is divine, without a doubt, in my mind. God is doing a mighty move, not just in this platform, but in the world that we live in. It's very clear to me. And this is just one platform that we will see thousands. Honestly, I see millions of lives being saved and restored, and just really a beautiful thing God is doing. And the time is now. The time is now. I know that the time is now. It's the divine time we've all been waiting for. And I believe this probably speaks to probably quite a few sitting here right now. I know that I've heard that in my spirit for quite a while now, that this time was near, and now that the time is here now. So glad to be participating. I love to learn, and just really, really excited to all I want to do is help people. All I want to do, I could just sit with people all day long, and it might get tiring, but to be honest with you, that's all I want to do. The rest of the things in the world don't matter to me. I just want to help people. I love people, and I love all of you, and very glad to be here. So thank you.
Hi. Yeah, wow. Oh, I was just feeling that so much. I think what I'm feeling today is also just rest and just a sense of, like, again, what some of you have already said, just kind of like being in the moment and receiving, and this being experiential. And it's really exciting to me just to let go of any kind of like, sense of needing to do too much, but just be here and receive. And I feel like I'm just hearing him say discovery is something that this is about, discovery. And so there's something new here, and that really excites me. And so, yeah, he's doing a mighty work, and he said the same thing to me, the time is now. And so I'm thrilled to just be in everybody's presence, everybody here. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Jody. It's really interesting being here. I was called to McLeod County to be on jury duty. I wasn't expecting that. And in reality, I didn't really want to be chosen as one of the jurors on the jury duty. But as the day drew near, I realized the Lord was telling me that I needed to be on that jury. I didn't know why till I started hearing the case. And that was my reality as to why I need to be here today. It was a family case where the state of Minnesota took the wife to court. And I could see how that was dividing that family, and what would have happened was it would have left them completely injured, and they would have been left to try and figure it out on their own. And so and as I was reflecting here for a little while here too, that he was flooding back all the little things that I've recognized in my lifetime of people that have been hurt and just things that have gone in their life. And I'm excited to be a part of this group because I know now that not only will it help me in my own life and our own family and communication, but then I can take what I'm learning here to others. And I'm excited about that.
Hi, I'm Gail. I am here because of a chance encounter with Michelle on the light rail train. And so I know that I'm meant to be here, and that is exciting. I'm excited to see what's in store. And I am also a family law attorney like Michelle. And in my role as a family law attorney, often people come to us in crisis, and I feel lucky as an attorney because I am a counselor of sorts, but I'm a counselor that can get things done that, like, legally in court, you know. But the thing about court is that there's a limited scope of end results. And when you do mediation or something like this, you greatly expand the alternative endpoints or the possibilities, and it can be much more personalized to the individual, and it can be much more healing than just getting an order from a judge. So I'm excited to be a part of this process and to, as you said, add another tool to my toolbox and see where this adventure will take me.
I'm Karen Gott. I'm currently an out-of-work quality engineer, and Michelle approached me with this. Well, I got the email like all of you did. She's actually told me and asked me to be on part of this for a number of years now, so we all know what that means. If somebody keeps telling you and putting you in front of you, then that's why you're here. I struggled because I'm a single provider for my family, and I know when my money's going to run out, and so I am actively looking for a job, but I'm also struggling because I own my own Mary Kay business, and Mary Kay is all about make people feel important. I want to make people feel important. I want to help families. I went through a situation myself. I know what it feels like. And so I am here as a potential new possibility for my life to earn a different type of income and something, in my mind, way less stressful because you're really pouring it from the heart. And that is much, much less stressful than going to a job. So, but we'll see what happens.
I'm Carloba, and I'm also an attorney, and I'm an attorney in Michelle's office. And I have taken this training before when I was in law school. I've been practicing now for 16, going on 17 years. And I've had a lot of experience with family law cases. And at the end of the day, as an attorney, like Gail shared with us, we can get legal results, but it's so much bigger than that, because after you've gotten the order from the judge, there's still people, there's still feelings and unresolved issues that linger on. And as an attorney, we do find ourselves a lot of times taking off, and I tell my clients, hey, I'm taking off my attorney hat now. And now I'm just going to talk to you, one-on-one, as woman to woman or as person to person, because God leads me to say things. And so I have to operate in his obedience. And at the end of the day, the issues are relational. They are absolutely relational. And so I am just excited to learn what's going on now in the, restorative world. So I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm glad that I'm here with all of you like believers. It's really powerful, very powerful.
Hello, I'm Craig Foss. I'm an attorney. I rent office space from Michelle, and I'm also a mediator, so I'm here to kind of get a refresher on doing mediation. It's one of those things where you never know completely how to do it, and you always need to kind of practice and get refreshers on it. So that's why I'm here, and hopefully we'll have a good experience here.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tom Shimoda. Also, I'm Michelle's husband. And I'm really glad all of you are here. What I really like is that I heard a real common thing. The most common thing I heard is a new tool. And I've been in retail, so there are a lot of different training seminars and stuff that I went to. You're always here to learn, and I think here we have a great tool to give you guys. And one of the greatest tools is going to be the communication skills. And the most important part of the communication is obviously there's a conflict because the communications broke down. And I think we have some really cool tools to give you to really help this communication. And the biggest part of it is you're empowering the people who are having problem communicating, and you keep letting them know they have the power to come to their resolution. You don't have to go to the courts. We're going to resolve your conflict right here. And some of the skills that we're going to give you when we start with even just like when Michelle had asked that we bring a situation here, a conflict you have, people are going, well, what does that have to do with my conflict? And I tell, it's like learning in pro sports or whatever when they start the practicing before the season starts, and they're going, why do we going through all this hard work? It has nothing to do with what our game situation is until you get into their conflict, and then they're realizing, hey, what we were practicing before is now right before us, and we're seeing how it's unfolding these tools that we learned from an outside conflict. Now we can actually see it in our conflict. It helps them to get to their resolution, usually quicker, but sometimes it takes a while. And these tools are still designed to help it continue to go forward, to help them heal. And again, the greatest thing is that, hey people, you're empowering yourself to come to your resolution. And then when they get it, all of a sudden you see them turning on, and then they're really respectful for each other, and they really the communication starts going. So it's a great tool, and I'm excited for you guys to hear it. And as always, if there's any questions, that's what this is all about. Ask. When we tell the clients always, it's not like you have an attorney speaking for you. You got to speak for yourself. You want everything, all your questions, you want them answered, and here's your opportunity. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to help you with some new tools.
My name is Gerald Mitchell. I was invited here by Lori, Carloba, and Michelle through a business situation, and we kind of started talking, and they invited me here. I live about 4 hours away. I live on the Iron Range, and I left this morning to be here. I already feel like I am a mediator. I own a halfway house, a mental health facility, and I'm in the process of opening a drug facility for women where they can have their children. I get 80, 90 calls a day, regardless if they're in our facility or outside. They always call me, even if it's, should I eat this bag of potato chips? Or he don't want me to have this, or he don't want me to have that. So I do need other people to bounce things off of, so it would be helpful to be in this group so I can help with some of the resolutions from the families up there, because I may not be the only one out there doing it in our area that's helping, but I feel like I'm overworked, and I think maybe having some more tools would help me.
Okay, so I'm Michelle, and I'm just really excited to be here. What's coming up for me is I'm a little nervous because you're coming into the circle from the outside world where there's all these rules, these regulations, these schedules, these things that we all have to prepare and abide by. And I want you to know there's just a couple of, there's 4 rules here, and it's respect the talking piece. as we all listen to each other. There's just so much I want to impart to you, but so I don't know where to begin. Is what was really happening. I have a schedule. I don't even know where to begin. So I'm going to begin by having a timer like this. This is a 20-minute timer. And we have a lot of work to do this morning. I'm not even calling it work, fun things to do this morning, fun learning. But I want to tell you, a little bit about myself and how I got to this place of teaching the course. I'll try to do it as succinctly as possible. So, I was in the box, okay? And then at one point, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm outside of the box. The box is over here, and I'm outside of the box. And where I am today is, there are no boxes. There are no boxes, okay? I don't even know why I was in a box, why I thought I was outside a box. There are no boxes. So that's came to me. So I was in a box. I was practicing family law, litigating families, thinking I was doing a really good job because I had a psychology minor. So I was litigating them. A couple attorneys in the firm, had my own firm with a partner, and it was $1 million a year that we were making doing the litigations. We had other things that we were doing, but primarily it was family law. And I had this one case walk in my office. We have a storefront office. It's on a main drag, and he was a man from Kenya, Africa, a black man, and just walked in. And he describes to me that his son was just taken away. That he doesn't have an order. He went to a certain bus stop. The son was gone. And I thought, well, that's weird. So I talked with him further, and I said, I learned that the mother was dead. Okay. So I'm like, well, that's weird. Family court order, no abuse, the mother's dead. Why are they taking kids away from single parents when the mother's dead? I thought it would be an easy case. I took a fee from him, a small fee, and I got my associate to take the case, go into court, show that the mother was dead. It didn't work, okay? It didn't matter. Fast forward, so I am working with him. He has this court order. It's one page. It basically gave custody to a great aunt who didn't have standing, I knew, from as a third-party custody. I'm like, how did she get? It was a guardian and the great aunt and a judge in a room that signed this order. He never got served papers, nothing. So I'm in this box of legal matters thinking, hey, he didn't get served papers. This is going to be easy. I went into court with him on a daily basis telling the judge, I learned something called, I'm making a special appearance. I mean, I'm thinking about fundamental rights. I mean, he's the father. Why is a court order involved in his life? And I can go into all my little boxes and the bureaucracy, and I figured out how that works. So all of this is happening. Around the same time, Pope John Paul II is getting beatified. Okay, so my Catholic upbringing, what's beatification mean? Well, it means you have one miracle. It's a big deal. And you need a second miracle in order to become a saint. So beatification isn't sainthood yet. And I woke up in the middle of the night. This was in February of 2011. And I said, whatever I speak will be that miracle right now. Whatever comes to me, I just knew it. And I looked over at my husband and thought about my family. I go, I got good family. Everything's good there. I thought, winning the lottery, wow, that would be quite the miracle. $1 million would come in handy. And I said, no, that's too selfish. And then it came to me, abolish family court in 1 year. And I was like, no, that's career suicide. I'm not doing that. And within a couple of days, I was in court with Benedictus Ombuna. We were in Hennepin County. Gail would be familiar with Hennepin County because she was a law clerk for judges there. One of my favorite judges. The chief judge of family court was my favorite judge. He helped a lot with this program. And I'm in a room with him. We're getting ready for his trial. Now, this is like testimony. We're getting ready for his custody testimony. And for some reason, something said to me, share your faith with this man. So I said to him something like, do you know who Pope John Paul II is? And now, in my judgments, because I was full of them, and that's another thing about circle, you got to set aside your judgments. You're full of them. You got to set aside your judgments. I see it as this little bird saying, oh, I don't like her hair, and oh, she talks too much, and da 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 da. You set it aside and circle, and that's how you connect heart to heart with the person. That's the way to do it. So he says to me, I say to him, do you know who Pope John Paul II is? He says to me, why, yes, he says. My father was going to be a priest. My mother was going to be a nun. Instead, they married, had 18 children, and 9 of us boys were confirmed by Pope John Paul II when I was a young boy in Kenya, Africa. So I'm like, wait a minute now. It just hit me like, okay. So we went into court, and we were going through, as some of you lawyers know, the child custody piece, and one of it is religion. And I wanted to get in there that he had been confirmed by Pope John Paul II on the record. And I get to something like, you raised Catholic, you're going to raise your kid Catholic. Who confirmed you? Other attorney doesn't object. I'm not objecting. And the judge, it was a wonderful judge who did a marvelous piece of this case. She objects. She goes, why is that relevant? And I'm like, because I just had a calling to abolish family court in 1 year. And I tried to get it in, right? And he was confirmed by Pope John Paul II. So I did get it on the record that day in my box. And on March 1, 2011, I started to call my clients. On March 1, 2011, we all met at my house. And our mantra, and we've created Family Innocence that evening. I had mediators there, clients there. There was about 9 or 10 or 11 of us. My husband was there. My daughter was there with her newborn baby, who was the first Baby Innocence, by the way. We have a Baby Innocence program. And that's when Family Innocence was born. And so every first of the month until our mission is complete, until we abolish family court, we're going to meet. And fast forward, I still have a little bit more time, to Benedictus's case. So his case, oh my gosh. So after that, the judge stayed the case. And if you know what that means, this it was referee. Oh, she was beautiful. She got cancer and had to leave. Do you know who I'm talking about? She stayed the case. She put it on pause, and you're going to learn about a pause program. She just put it on pause. She recognized that this child has to be with dad, but she didn't boldly order what she should have, is just give dad custody. She just recognized that. And so we went through the case, and she put it on pause, and it was around this time. So we started Family Innocence, and I had our first event, and it was November 1st, 2011. We had our first event. It was a great event. We had lots of speakers. And the mantra was, we're going to have a pastor, we're going to have me, the legal person, talking about court, and we're going to have a judge talking about we got to get rid of court. And we did. We had that mantra. And so what happened was Judge Bruce Peterson, I will never forget him. He's spoken at several of our events. He came to one of our events to speak. We sat in his chambers. He was eager to speak. He did this, epic talk. But he brought someone to introduce me to circles. And he said, Michelle, here's somebody you want to meet. And that person had trained with Dominic Barter, who you're going to see on this video. And I'm just like, circle. So we brought him, we went to his house. This was before I was even trained. I started doing circles. I went to his house, and we'd have these circle practices. And what Judge Peterson would do, we'd go around like, how you feeling today? And he'd say, I was just in court, and it was a personal injury case, and there was a jury, and he was seeing how people get stuck in injury. They get stuck in trauma because of the court. Like, he could see it, that this person doesn't want to get better because they want some money in court. And he said, Michelle, what circles is all about is hearing people. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, you hear people. No, not just listening, hearing. I'm like, what is hearing? So he gave this example. He said, Michelle, let's say you are on a float, on a quiet lake, and the sun is shining, and you are just on that float, just so comfortable, so wonderful. You're so in the moment. And then you get splashed, and you're like, and then you go, okay, well, just, oh, this is so wonderful. I'm on this float. And then you get splashed again, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. I'm on this float. The sun is shining. I'm getting a tan. And then you get splashed again, and you turn around because you're angry that somebody is disrupting your comfort level, and there's a person behind you drowning. I said, oh my gosh. Then I talked to this one pastor. He says, I'm sitting at my computer. I'm doing this work. I'm doing God's work, sitting at my computer. Somebody comes in and knocks on the door. I'm busy. I'm doing. Come get me later. And then he stopped and he said, that's God's work. I'm just like, okay, so this is pretty amazing. And we went, I wanted to know all about circles. I had never heard of circles. Some of you hadn't. I wanted to know all about it. And I went to practices at his house, and when Dominic Barter he hadn't been in Minnesota 10 years at this point, was coming to New York, I took 3 of our people there. By then we had people that were helping, volunteering, trying to get this off the ground. And we went to New York, and Benedictus came with me to New York. But when I went to New York and trained, and there were maybe 100 people that started out, maybe the group was probably double this size, with the world's foremost peacemaker, Dominic Barter, who developed restorative circles. There were no materials. There were judges in the room. There were mediators in the room. Do you know how? I was used to it. I had done some courses like that, but it was like there were no materials. They were developing the materials during my course, and they said at the end of the course you will get materials. So I I've struggled with, should I give you the materials first? And I've talked with Dawn, and and Dawn's like, give them the materials first. Because this is a crash course. I spent morning, noon, and night for a whole week, plus the, but I don't want you to rely on them. I'd like you to be in the moment. So I'm going to play Dominic Barter's video right now. And then you'll see Benedictus Ambuna, and then I want to remember to tell you what happened to Benedictus Ambuna.
Creating a system that reflects the community is in itself a community building process. When painful or violent conflict occurs, we actually create more security for our communities when we move towards each other rather than away from each other.
Martin Luther King said, if you want peace, work for justice. And we really need a justice system that is fair.
Ideally, we're looking not to replace one justice system with another, but to begin questioning and dialoguing around justice, using as a basis what we already have.
At the Gandhi Institute, we don't just want to give a historical look back to what people like King or Gandhi did. We're wanting to move those ideas and principles forward in the world. And for us, restorative practices are an opportunity to really embody nonviolence in a systemic way, in a way that our community desperately needs.
We started in communities in the mid-90s in Rio de Janeiro, where I live. And these were communities that were off limits to most of what the state does. They were run by armed gangs. We started with conversations with the community around what it was that was working, what wasn't working, and the way they responded to conflict. And slowly, through experimenting, we started to notice certain dynamics, and we would try to repeat the things that worked well and drop the things that weren't working. And that's how the work developed.
It's not just enough to say that it's at a level of equality. There's additional steps necessary.
A restorative circle is a gathering of those people who are experiencing painful or violent conflict. And they come together to do three things. First, to re-establish the ability to hear each other. The second thing is to find out the good reasons why the horrible things happened, as in what were the underlying values that people were attempting to take care of when they said those painful words, when they did those painful things. And thirdly, to decide what it is that they want to do next. What I want to do is introduce restorative practices within a wider context of restorative systems, of communities that are self-regenerating, of organizations, including the university, which are beginning to think critically and creatively about how they can create the conditions for a resilient community life. And in Rochester, we can see that context happening in several different areas.
There's one project that's happening here in Rochester now where they're being used to help people who are coming out of prison to transition back in with their families and in with their communities. My particular hope coming up is to help advance the understanding among people who work with youth and the community overall on how they might use this work. But I'd like to continue to think about how we could really employ these tools in meaningful ways in the university community.
One of the key principles is dialogue. It's simply about taking more care and listening more deeply, listening not just to words but to meaning. When we start to connect on that level of meaning, we suddenly discover that actually we have the same fundamental values.
A production of the University of Rochester. Please visit us online and subscribe to our channel for more videos.
So Dominic Barter, I still have a few minutes, was in the favelas of Brazil. He explained how he was there with his young son. He was a teacher, just like Don and a few of us here. And he was going to leave. This was where he was lawlessness, complete lawlessness. There was no respect for any type of authority. He was going to leave with his family, and he's watching the TV, and some bad event was happening, and he said, wait a minute, this is my community. Why am I going to leave? Now what happened is, I went to this course thinking family law. And I told Dominic, I'm going to bring this back and implement it in family, because our first community is family. That's our first community. We're born, we're in a hospital, then we're brought to a home, and that's your first community. So if we can implement his work in the family community, where people aren't just leaving like he was going to do, right? He was talking about a larger community. Then we won't have all of this lawlessness that's happening, because we're going to connect with each other heart to heart. We're going to put together the book break, because now I'm going to a PowerPoint, and Dawn will help with that because she thought of the idea.
Actually, I'm going to also take a little minute and give a kind of a concrete example. I am actually a school librarian. I tell people it's the best job in the world because I get to work with every kid in the school. I get to work with books and I get to work with technology. What's not to like? So I don't necessarily in my role have a reason to regularly be working in circles. Sometimes I use these practices individually with a student. If I have maybe some technology that's been broken or something, I just use the words. But the fact that I'm here today, I think is a testimony to the power of restorative practices in school. I started in this building 5 years ago. I'm in a smaller building, so I'm only there 0.8, which means I only work 4 days a week. When I started 5 years ago, there were just behavior issues. The building was in chaos. And they said, well, you know, be here 4 days. I said, Mondays for me are worthless days because there was so much chaos that we had a group of first graders who one of the kids would leave the room, he'd go to the other classrooms, call other kids out, and they would literally run through, just be running. My school has hallways on the outside, my library is right in the middle, doors both ends. They would literally be running through the library all day. Behavior issues were horrendous. Monday's teachers were just basically fingernails. Let's get everybody back in here. We are not interested in the library that day. Fast forward 5 years, we have had teachers training overtime with restorative practices. Our classrooms every day start with a circle, and with them it's not restoring, it's communicating, it's what they are. But our teachers will also, if they know there's a recess conflict on the playground, that's what they'll do after lunch, is they'll maybe go into circle. We have used positive behavior strategies, things like that. Within that at the beginning of this year, I'm kind of going, hey, I'm getting emails on Monday. People are, hey, can we do this? Friday, which was typically kind of a busy day, they're doing other things. They're doing classroom things. They're doing classroom engagement. Our building has changed. The tone in our building has changed completely. One of our big issues has been bus behavior. Our bus referrals have dropped by more than half in the last 3 years. You walk through and there's a totally different pattern in our building. And it's been, we've been working for 4 years. This is the 5th year that I've been there. So it's just an example of, in another context, the power of what these practices bring. And we're using them in a positive way. But I believe we had 6 bus referrals in the month of September, which at the beginning of the school year, that's barely a blip. So it's truly the fact that I'm able to be here on Friday, because the tone in my building has changed so completely, is a testimony to the power.
My son had been given to somebody else.
We're not going to bottom line it like, been there, done that, here's what you got to do.
It's really hard for me to just sit and listen because that's how I communicate.
People raise their voice because they think they're not being heard.